It's a new dawn for the Transformers, new friends and new enemies. What's up everyone, James here. So this officially is the first issue of Robert Kirkman's run on Skybound Transformers. So much happens in this first issue that sets the stage for things we may see in the future. 3 things I want to mention from the last video. The first is that some of you pointed this out in the comments. Megatron didn't shoot Starscream like I originally thought. Starscream shot himself, and it gets confirmed in this issue. The second is a mistake I made. I thought Omega Supreme grabbed Starscream's body when the Decepticons retreated. It was Bruticus. It was just a case of me rushing and not paying close attention to detail. I just saw the orange color of the bot carrying him and immediately assumed it was Omega. The final thing is a theory that I had about Alita 1 many videos ago that would lead to a Autobot civil war could be happening. And by the end of the video, you'll see what I mean. Okay, with that out of the way, make sure you hit that like button and let's get into this. So this opens shortly after the battle between the Autobots and Decepticons, with a very pissed off Megatron, who is still badly injured after his defeat by Optimus Prime and Shredhead. He and the other Decepticons retreated to the remains of the Nemesis in the Pacific Ocean. He berates the Decepticons for not being strong enough to achieve victory. Even though he's injured, he is still powerful enough to uppercut Devastator so hard that he separates into his individual components. Still, his attack on the Combiner aggravates his injuries, causing him to stagger. Frenzy tries to help him, but Megatron backslaps him away, telling him he doesn't need his help. This right here is the first indicator for me that Robert Kirkman knows Megatron, because he would never show weakness, even when badly injured. And when you rule by the way of a critocracy, showing weakness is a death sentence, because strength is the only thing respected and only the strongest rule. Now this is the lowest the Decepticons have ever been, because Megatron says, "What has become of us? Look at what passes for a Decepticon stronghold now. We cower in the darkness of their murky seas. I sorely overestimated our capabilities when I returned. I mistakenly thought you were the same soldiers I led before. I could have never known the sorry state I found you in. Stranded on a world so soft and breakable. You have modeled yourselves after this new environment." He yells, "Look at me when I address you." Megatron proceeds to directly speak to every Decepticon here, directly pointing out each one's failure or flaw. Even Laserbeak, whom he calls the most loyal of his subjects, even him he says he expects more. Now, I personally disagree with him calling Laserbeak the most loyal, because Soundwave definitely is the most loyal, and Laserbeak is a Recordicon of his, as they're called in this universe. So I feel like he should have said, "You and your master, Soundwave, the most loyal of my subjects, I expect more." What Megatron is doing to the Decepticons here is breaking them down to build them back up. Not to recreate them, but to remind them of who they were on Cybertron. It's actually quite genius, because you can make an argument that the Decepticons were not fighting at 100% of their potential. Lest we forget, right before Megatron showed up, they were in the middle of a civil war between Soundwave and Starscream's Decepticon factions, determined to kill each other. Then all of a sudden had to work together when Megatron returned. After he speaks to every one of them, the harshest anger is left for Starscream. He says to his seemingly dead body, "And then there's you. You failed me most of all. Pathetic. I'm moments away from finally defeating Optimus Prime. I finally have that sniveling cur exactly where I want him. And what do? You defeat yourself. You, Starscream, above all others, disgust me." Megatron stomps on his body and orders his body to be taken out of his sight and put with the other remnants of dead Decepticons. He goes on to tell the Decepticons, though they're on a strange world, unable to return to Cybertron, and now face threats, old and new, their goal will never change. He poses the question to them, what is it we hope to achieve? Each one of them answers something different. Domination, conquest, and oppression. Megatron answers, peace. That is our ultimate goal. A unified Cybertron, free from conflict, where our brethren can live out their lives fulfilled and content. But how will we achieve this? Through domination, oppression, and conquest. That is all the Autobots know. That is the only way for them to submit to our will. Yes, my Decepticons, peace. We shall one day know peace, and there is only one way to achieve it. Peace through tyranny. I ask you each, look deep within your circuits. Are you strong enough to bring tyranny to this new world? All the Decepticons reply all at once, yes. They chant, all hail Megatron. Megatron has restored the Decepticons, and now they are truly united with a shared purpose. However, as the Decepticons are chanting, all hail Megatron, among the remnants of fallen Decepticons, Starscream's eye glows red once more. From here, we transition to the Autobots still in Chicago, helping clear the wreckage caused by their battle with the Decepticons. We also transitioned into the new official art style of Transformers going forward in Kirkman's run, switching from George Corona to Dan Mora. I miss seeing Danny Warren Johnson's art, and I'm going to miss seeing George's now. Let me know in the comments if you guys wish George continued or if it went back to Danny Warren Johnson. I personally love Dan Mora's art style. It's just like very clean and nice looking. Optimus is saddened by the destruction the Great War has wrought on Earth until a little girl wearing a face mask approaches him. She admits she was scared of him before, but no longer fears him, recognizing he is not a bad robot like those other ones. Optimus says, I refuse to believe anything can truly be bad, only misguided. Honestly, it's one of the most profound things I think Optimus has said in this entire series so far, because it shifts the focus from an absolute moral judgment to a perspective of intention and execution. It speaks to the nature of people, morality, and the nature of evil. It shows how Optimus Prime is truly a bot of hope. The only question I have is, does he deep down to his very circuits, feel that way about Megatron? As Ultra Magnus clears debris, RC notices his distress. Magnus, like Optimus, feels guilt over the devastation, believing it should have been his duty to prevent it. RC and Jazz reassure him that they did all that they could. That's all they can control. They live to fight another day. Now, the one glaring issue in this issue that goes unexplained is how the Autobots, except Optimus, are fully repaired, when just in the last issue, Magnus was damaged from the battle, RC had one arm, and Beachcomber had endured multiple shots from Starscream's null rays. And there's no way for them to get repaired when the arc is gone, and they definitely don't have any Energon. But hey, that's comics for you, I guess. Beachcomber calls the Autobots for help because he informs them he detects a signal from beneath a pile of rubble, and they move to help. Suddenly though, Soundwave emerges. Remember, Shredhead knocked him out when he tried to attack them and ended up flying off the skyscraper. Optimus orders the Autobots to protect the humans and evacuate the area while he confronts Soundwave. As the two lock into battle, Soundwave demands to know Megatron's whereabouts. But when Optimus answers that he fled like the coward he is, Soundwave refuses to believe him. They trade blows, and the fight is going back and forth until Soundwave leaps toward him and Optimus catches him in midair and hits him with a spine buster, putting him down for the count. I have to say though, I am sick of the damn disrespect Soundwave has been getting recently. At least let him give Optimus a harder fight, give him a run for his money. However, I'll admit, I like how Optimus adds insult to injury, saying, do yourself a favor and stay down. He orders Wheeljack to restrain him and take him to their base. Magnus accompanies him. Now, who approaches Optimus Prime is General Flag, the head honcho of the US military, including G.I. Joe. He tells Optimus that the US government has determined the Autobots must be the good ones, and would like to offer the Autobots a partnership, believing that cooperation between them could be mutually beneficial. Optimus responds apologizing for bringing the Decepticons to Earth, and tries to tell him that the Autobots need nothing from humanity in return for fighting them. Despite this, Flag urges Optimus to accompany him back to his base, saying there are a few things he'd like to show him. Before we go into the awesome stuff Flag has to show Optimus, at the Autobots base, the cavern where the Ark once was, Wheeljack, while exploring the cavern, discovers a Tyrannosaurus Rex skeleton. Oh yeah, baby, you know what that means. We may be getting the Dinobots soon. The reason why I believe this is because in the G1 cartoon, in the episode SOS Dinobots, Wheeljack got the idea to create the Dinobots after he discovered dinosaur fossils in the cave occupied by the crashed Ark. I will admit this could be just Skybound paying homage to that episode, or they're telling us they'll be introducing them in the Energon Universe the same way. And what Flag has to show Optimus could lead them to easily achieving that. Suddenly, the cave shakes, and in an instant, Wheeljack finds himself inside the Ark, now mysteriously back in its original location. Magnus and Jazz join him, both also shocked that it's returned suddenly. Before we find out where the Ark was, Optimus Prime is flown to a US military base. General Flag proposes the US government and Autobot partnership again, emphasizing that though the Autobots don't want anything in return for fighting the Decepticons, the US government would like to give them things regardless, because it prides itself on picking the right side. Though the US government can manage most threats, Flag says extraterrestrial threats like the Decepticons scare the crap out of them. So he tells Optimus whatever the Autobots need, they'll provide it. When Optimus says that's a generous offer, Flag replies, nothing generous about it. You lose, we're sunk. We've seen what these monsters can do. We've got no other options here. So if you got a big ask, you should know it can't be too big. Flag then takes Optimus to a secret underground facility called Shadow Watch. There, Optimus Prime discovers the deactivated bodies of Mirage and Bulkhead. I'm excited to see both of them in the Energon Universe, but I am more excited about Bulkhead, because when it comes to the comics, he's barely been utilized throughout all the different continuities. I want to see him as the Autobots' gentle giant, who can straight up Hulk out and rip apart Decepticons. Flag tells Optimus Bulkhead, who he refers to as the Green One, was found under a pyramid in Guatemala in 1906. Teddy Roosevelt was hunting down there at the time and called dibs, which is funny. Mirage was found at the bottom of the ocean in 1936, but it wasn't until 1984 that they had the technology to bring him up, and he's been here for study ever since. So this shows us, like Beachcomber and Megatron, other Transformers flew out of the Ark while they were battling or while it was entering Earth's atmosphere. Flag tells Optimus that though they've been studying them, they never got close to reactivating them. Now this is all very similar to the first Bay Transformers movie, where the US government's secret agency Sector 7 had Megatron's body after he was discovered in the Arctic Circle in 1897. Optimus asked a question if he's been dissecting them, and Flag tries to answer that's not how he would put it. However, he eventually admits that's the case, but he tells Optimus it's only because the government was trying to learn more about them and maybe help them, but he can take them and maybe he can revive them. When Optimus says we don't have the Energon, Flag interrupts, saying, about that. He shows Optimus a huge deposit of Energon. He tells Optimus they found more than a few deposits over the years and have a stockpile. All of it is his, along with any more that they find. He then introduces Optimus to the head of Shadow Watch, a man named Miles Mayhem. Yeah, this guy is on the Autobot side now, but more than likely will be a problem for them in the future. Here's why. Miles Mayhem originated in the Mask universe. He was a decorated military officer who co-founded Project Mask, which stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command. It's an elite team using transforming vehicles and high-tech helmets called masks to fight global threats. However, Mayhem's ambition and greed led him to betray his partner, Matt Tracker. Now, Matt Tracker got introduced in the most recent Energon Universe special. I'll cover that eventually. Mayhem stole much of the technology and formed the rival criminal syndicate Venom, vicious evil network of Mayhem. As Venom's ruthless leader, Mayhem used his stolen tech and tactical genius to wage war for profit and power, becoming Mask's primary nemesis. In the IDW universe, his story was reimagined. There, he was depicted as a high-ranking US military officer who was a part of, at one point, G.I. Joe Colton's adventure team. He secretly manipulated global events to advance human military power. After discovering and weaponizing Cybertronian tech left behind from Transformer conflicts, Mayhem used it to create the foundations of both Mask and Venom. His betrayal of Tracker remains the same, but in this version, his motivations are tied to humanity's obsession with controlling alien power. He becomes a key antagonist across the shared universe of G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers, ROM, Micronauts, and Action Man. So time will tell if in this Energon universe, he'll become the threat the Autobots will have to face. It also confirms for us that Mask is a part of this Energon universe. Mayhem says to Optimus, "Well, I have a feeling we're going to get along exceptionally well, Optimus Prime." I think this is all a setup. I think the government is using the Autobots, distracting them with all this help that they do desperately need right now to learn every single thing they can about the Transformers, especially Energon, and use it to create their own advanced weaponry and a new source of energy, just like Cobra Commander has done. And that's how G.I. Joe will end up on an even playing field with Cobra. It also would allow the government to separate itself from Destro because, as we saw in his miniseries, that's where they get most of their weapons from. Returning to the Ark, after Jazz and Wheeljack put Soundwave in the brig, they wonder how the Ark suddenly came back. Wheeljack mentions that when he checked the database, there was no tracking info logged. Out of nowhere, Thundercracker attacks them, but not in an intentional manner. He's freaking out, panicking, screaming, saying, "Where were we? Those creatures, such horrible monstrosities. I've never seen anything like it." Thundercracker, using Skywarp's teleportation ability, transported the ship to Cobra La. My issue with this is just the mere coincidence of all the places the Ark could have transported to on Earth, it just happened to end up in Cobra La. It doesn't make sense to me because the only Transformer aware of Cobra La and that has been to it so far was Megatron. And both Thundercracker and Skywarp have no idea he's alive and has returned to lead the Decepticons. Now, the last place we go to is Cybertron. Alita 1 is still extremely pissed at Cliffjumper for sending Shredhead to Earth. Because remember, her goal was to use Shredhead's power along with all the Autobots left on Cybertron and take the planet back from the Decepticons. Especially with Optimus having taken Shockwave out of the picture, at least for now, the Decepticons have no leadership on the planet. Blue Streak tries to argue that Cliffjumper was just trying to help Optimus on Earth, but Alita shuts him down. She's not hearing that at all. She tells him that Cliffjumper betrayed them and that she would lock him away if they didn't need him. That he threw away their opportunity to finally gain the upper hand. She says, "No, our fight isn't on Earth. Our fight is here. But where is our leader? He has abandoned us. There is no victory to be had here with our forces divided. Without him and the other Autobots, our cause is lost. Optimus Prime is no longer our ally. He is our enemy." I totally called this. The Autobot Civil War could be coming. Listen, you can argue that the other Autobots on Cybertron won't back her, but at this point, who has been leading them? And who have they spent more time with? It's Alita. It's not a stretch to think that she can't at least convince some of them that Optimus doesn't care about them. If she hasn't told them already, she can tell them how when Optimus had the opportunity to take back Cybertron and use tanks full of Shockwave's Energon to restore them, he instead chose to destroy the tanks and a piece of Cybertron along with it and return to Earth. Now we know the truth as to why he did that, but that's the perspective, the lens she's going to speak from. That's what she truly believes. Well, that's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Comment below your thoughts and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.